Today I'm going to show you some new experimental features to basically help you debug your Dagger pipelines. So I'm going to start with this very simple pipeline here that doesn't do much. So I have a container and basically do a from Alpine. Then it doesn't really matter what I'm doing here. It is just for demo, but basically I'm echoing hello world into a file, foo, and then catting the file. And that's it. So I'm going to call my function here, and nothing surprising, like I get hello world at the end because I'm grabbing std out. So the first change to help you debug is a change in the terminal and how it works. There's a feature already existing in Dagger that you can use from the CLI to basically grab a terminal. The change is that now you can actually use that in code and place it anywhere in your pipeline. So for instance, I'm going to inject between with exec and std out. I'm going to call terminal. Okay. And then I'm going to, so from Alpine, exec, terminal, std out. I'm going to rerun the same pipeline we did before. And what's going to happen is that the execution is going to stop at the terminal command. So that's still between my echo and my std out. So here, basically, I'm inside a container. I can just inspect things, and I can see that there's this foo file here that contains hello world that was being created like by this echo command. When I exit, the execution continues, and I get back to the end of the pipeline. You can actually use this terminal feature like as many times as you want. So, for instance, let's do this from Alpine, do a breakpoint here. After this, run the execution, then breakpoint again, and then std out. So let me rerun this pipeline. Pet first shell, breakpoint right after like the from. So if I try to check foo, it doesn't exist yet because we're right after from Alpine. I'm going to exit this shell. So we are here. I'm going to exit the shell. What's going to happen is that it's going to execute this command and then drop inside the terminal. So let's exit here, and then second breakpoint. This time it's happening after the echo. So if I check, now there's a foo. I can inspect foo, exit, and continue execution again. So basically, this allows you on containers to set arbitrary breakpoints anytime during the execution of the pipeline. It's not limited to containers. I have another example here with another pipeline dealing with directories. So I'm grabbing a repo, checking out the tree, grabbing a file, grabbing the content. So the repo happens to be Dagger, and then I'm grabbing the README. So if I execute this, we should see the README of a repo, okay, showing up here. After this instruction tree, I'm given back a Dagger directory. And what I can do actually here, again, is use terminal. And by calling terminal, the execution will be stopped right after the git clone, and I'm dropped inside a shell. Like here, you can see the Dagger repo, and I can cat readme, inspect whatever I want, and exit, and then continue execution. The way it works, like since you can't really like start a shell inside a directory, like there's no, it's not a Linux file system or whatever. When you call terminal on a directory, what happens is that it creates like a brand new container on the background with a default image. Right now we're using Alpine, and then just mounting your directory inside. You can actually, like if you're not happy with Alpine, you can actually pass some new options here, and you can say like, actually for my terminal, for my directory, I want to use a custom container, and I want to use like, I don't know, an Ubuntu. And I can actually say, I don't want the default sh shell. Actually, I want a bash. So again, cloning the repo, grabbing the source tree, and then just dropping a terminal inside using Ubuntu and bash this time. I'm gonna run this again. And you can see my prompt has changed because now it's an Ubuntu with bash. If I check around, I can double check now I have an Ubuntu. And same thing, I'm dropped inside /src, which is the amount of the directory we just set a breakpoint into. So same thing, I can inspect a repo and see like all the nice files around. Okay, so next up, this is super useful when you're trying to debug and basically set those manual breakpoints. Like I want to stop here, stop there. Sometimes though, you don't control that. What happens is that you run some commands and they just happen to fail. I have an example here where I'm doing like, I'm going to simulate a failure here, basically from Alpine and then exit 42. Here, imagine more, it's like a linter failing or it's a go build error or it's whatever. So let me call the fail function. And this is the normal behavior, like you call fail and then it just tells you, hey, the command failed and that's it. With those new features, like when that happens, you can actually do and flag still TBD, but like dash interactive. And what that's going to do is that anytime there is a failure in a container execution, like so, I get dropped an interactive shell inside with the current state. So here you can see I was doing an exec touch fail and exiting. So I get dropped inside and I can actually, if I inspect around, I can actually see the fail. So this contains the container state when there was a failure. So I have everything that's been going on into the container, including like the files created, any partial builds or whatever that happened. I can take that and then try to debug. And then once I'm happy, I can fix the pipeline, run again, etc. The very last part of the demo, it's even more experimental. Like this was more like a proof of concept, but the question is like, so pretty cool. I get a shell and I can debug stuff, but sometimes you have flaky tests that happen on CI and not like locally. And like, how do you get a terminal on that CI instance? And this experimental new feature is called Dagger Cloud Terminal, which you enable like so. And I'm going to rerun the command. And this time, instead of dropping a shell here, it's saying that the remote terminal session has started. And it's pointing me to SSH Dagger Cloud with a command here. The way this works, like this is not actually starting an SSH server inside the container. This is basically the engine connecting to cloud and then proxying the terminal, and then cloud being like an SSH gateway that allows you to go back inside the container. So let me try this command. I copy paste this, asking for a password, and then again, I'm inside the container, so I can do whatever. I can inspect the fail file and whatnot. So SSH was just a proof of concept to try to an UI, but there's actually a better way. So, which is even more experimental. So I'm gonna rerun this command, and okay, it failed. I'm not gonna SSH. I'm just gonna grab this ID, and I'm gonna open my browser and then go to ssh.dagger.cloud, random port on my machine, and then this ID. And what happens is that now I have a web browser like terminal that's attached inside the container. So I can see, again, I have my fail file. And it's actually a real terminal. So I can do stuff like let's install htop and then run htop. And I'm running like inside the container. I can even click around and use my mouse to do whatnot. This terminal works both for, those are interactive failures. But if I go back to like the first example where I'm like explicitly calling a terminal, that works too. So I'm gonna call a container, the very first demo, where it was like echoing hello world into foo, and I have an ID here. And if I pop it open, okay, I can see I'm dropped inside, and we should see in foo hello world because that's what we were echoing. Okay, so I can really like pop inside the container from anywhere, and cloud is just acting as a gateway, like doing, because like you cannot connect from your laptop to CI, right? That's firewalled. So cloud is basically acting as a gateway so that your engine from CI connects to cloud, and then your browser connects to cloud, and then it's just doing the gateway between the two. And that's it, really. Some parts of this, like the explicit like terminal API, there's already a PR open, which I'm hoping to get merged sometime this week, and then the rest will follow gradually. The next stop is going to be the interactive, like on failure terminals. But yeah, this should be landing pretty soon. And yeah, feedback welcome if like you're not, you have thoughts about the API or whatever, please let me know on the GitHub issue. Thank you.